and welcome to Grandad's Reviews. In this video we're going to have a look at IBIS in the X-S10 versus OIS in the lenses. So a quick look if having the IBIS with OIS is better than just OIS. Is OIS that much worse than the IBIS? And does the IBIS make a big difference to non-OIS lenses? So we'll go outside and have a quick look. All right, now we're down in my courtyard. I'm going to do this test looking at the IBIS in the X-S10, and does it make a huge difference over the optical image stabilisation in Fuji lenses, and how much does the IBIS make a difference to vintage lenses that have no communication with the camera whatsoever. So at the moment I've got the 15 to 45 XC lens on, and we're say on the XC 15 to 45 we're wide open, we've got IBIS on, and with these lenses with built-in OIS you can't switch them off individually. So if I've got the OIS on the lens, then we've got IBIS on. If I've got IBIS on, I've got OIS, I've got OIS in the lens. So the lenses we're going to look at, let's have a look. So we've got a 28mm Minolta as my vintage test, and we're going to try those on the XT30 as well, so we can see what the difference is, because I can't turn the OIS off on this 1545 and just have the IBIS on, so we're going to use the XT30 for that. So we'll do a walk down the yard with this 15 to 45 at 15mm with the IBIS and OIS off, and then we'll stick the IBIS on and see what the difference is. Right, so this is the IBIS and the OIS off. So as I say, the only trouble with the X-S10, I assume the XT4, is that if you've got an OIS lens attached to it, it also controls the IBIS. So you can't switch the IBIS off and leave the OIS on, and you can't do it the other way over around as well. You are completely stuck with that IBIS and the OIS working together, which I think in a firmware I'm sure they could change, because it might be advantageous, and we'll see what occurs. So this is just a basic walk with the 15 to 45, no stabilisation on whatsoever, IBIS or OIS. So right, let's put IBIS on. There's exactly the same settings, but with IBIS and OIS on. There's no digital on this. It's out on a small handheld tripod. It's about 18 inches away from me, I would say. I'm going to walk down, and I say this time when I switch the IBIS on, the OIS comes on as well. So that's the difference. We've got both. So this is IBIS and OIS on the 1545, and we go up to here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put it on digital as well and see how much difference that makes. So this is IBIS, OIS and digital stabilisation as well on the 15 to 45. I'm not going to do the boost setting because that is more for a stationary handheld shot, not for this kind of walking shot. And I must say as well, in reality, when other YouTubers are doing these tests, and I'm doing a very similar one, them noticing, oh, there's warping in the corners, or there's jittering as the IBIS moves around. But in reality, if you're using this for vlogging, your viewers, your audience, my viewers, will be concentrating on me, not whatever's going on here. So if your content is interesting enough, the viewer's not going to worry about some little minor jitters or little wobbles in the corners. That's my opinion anyway. So right, that was the 1545 with the IBIS and OIS. Right, so here we are now on the XT30, same basic settings, with the 15mm and the optical image stabilisation on. And obviously there's no internal stabilisation. So all this is the lens doing the stabilisation. Nothing else, just the basic lens. So we'll see how different that is to normal stabilisation. Now, I won't bother doing non-stabilised because that'll be just the same as the XS10 with no stabilisation on. So this is 1545 with optical image stabilisation on and nothing else, just that. And we'll see how good it is and see if it on the XS10 actually makes that much difference. Right, we've got the vintage lens on here. Not quite sure if we're in focus. Not peeking on, but the screen's a little bit tricky to see. Let's just zoom in, see what yeah, I'm peeking. So it's 28mm. It's on a Pixco focal reducer. So it's at 28mm or near enough. It's not the best 28mm I've got. It's a little bit soft, but we'll see how we go. So this is without IBIS, without any kind of stabilisation, but just a 28mm. And we'll see how we go. So the focus might be out a little bit. I can't quite see how we're going. I'll put the IBIS on when we get down the bottom here because it'll be pretty obvious how far out it is. As we turn around, let's put IBIS on. Right, so we're on the 28mm Minolta lens. So screen is actually quite small for trying to do your focus at this range, but we'll give it a go. I've told the camera that the adapter and the lens fitted is the 28mm, so hopefully the IBIS will work. Got the IBIS on, so let's walk. And as I say, it's a bit of a soft lens, so I'm sorry for the focus and the softness of it, but it's not the only 28 I'd got handy at the time. But it'll give us an idea of how the IBIS works. So this is just IBIS on the 28mm vintage lens. Right, as you've seen on the computer, looking at the footage, the IBIS on its own, when it's working with no non-OIS lenses, makes a difference, makes a big difference, especially on vintage lenses. And there is a difference, a slight advantage, with the IBIS working with the OIS. Whether it's a bigger advantage in the vlogging set that I just did, that's going to be my first test, that vlog test that we just did. I'm not too sure. The OIS stands up quite well in the vlog test and is usable, definitely, especially on the 15 to 45. So whether it's worth upgrading, let's say your XT30 or XT3 to an XT4 or an XS10 just for the IBIS if you do a lot of vlogging, if you've got OIS lenses, I'm not too sure. That'd have to be something you'd make your decision yourself on that one. I'm not too sure it makes that big a difference. But if you're going to be using non-stabilised lenses, then yes, I think it does really help. So what I'm going to do next is a real-world test of filming something, probably going to be wildlife, and we'll see how much difference the OIS and the IBIS make in that situation. So if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up and hit that like button. It helps out the channel, and hit the subscribe button as well. Until next time, see you later.